It's hard to get your arms around the responsibility of protecting all the world's treasures. But, be they natural destinations or the work of humans, Connor Knighton reports there's an agency trying to do just that.
In Icelandic, Vatnajökull means the water glacier. At over 3,000 square miles, this massive ice cap covers more than 8% of Iceland.
I remember the first time I seen a glacier, it moved my heart. I couldn't imagine this massive ice existing.
Vatnajökull is one of the largest glaciers in all of Europe. And, as my guide pointed out when I visited pre-pandemic, it has another noteworthy distinction.
Recently recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site.
Being recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site is one of those things that sure sounds impressive, but what does it actually mean? What do a coral reef in Australia, a cave in Kentucky, and an entire city in Peru have in common? I headed to an office building in Paris to get some answers.
The idea of the convention is to protect the most outstanding places, those which have outstanding universal value for all of humanity, for future generations. Now, this building
Mathilde Rossler is the director of UNESCO's World Heritage Center, located in the shadow of the Eiffel Tower, which, yes, is part of another World Heritage Site. UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, adopted the World Heritage Convention in 1972. Their first list of outstanding places included 12 spots, ranging from Ethiopia's rock-hewn churches to Yellowstone National Park. Today, there are more than 1,100 World Heritage Sites. There are culturally significant locations like India's Taj Mahal and Illinois' prehistoric Cahokia Mounds, and naturally impressive locations like England's Jurassic Coast and Botswana's Okavango Delta. This week, the committee is meeting virtually, reviewing dozens of possible additions to the list.
I get many letters every day. People write, why is this church or this city or this park not protected by UNESCO?
For starters, World Heritage Sites must be nominated by their home country and meet at least one of 10 defined criteria. It can be a masterpiece of human creative genius, or it can be the most important habitat for a specific animal. Iceland's Vatnajökull was deemed geologically significant.
It's a combination of the great forces of nature, ice and fire, and the different landform that creates.
So I've seen the ice. Where's the fire?
It's underneath the ice.
Helga Arnadottir is a park manager for Vatnajökull, which sits on top of an active volcano. Icelandic officials spent years preparing a 362-page submission to win UNESCO's approval in 2019. 2020 was the first year UNESCO didn't name any new sites. The pandemic preempted the annual committee meeting.
It seems in a way that it's a brand name. Is it more than that? Is it more than just a brand?
It is much more than a brand. The brand is very important, but it's really an international system for protection.
While UNESCO monitors the sites, it generally doesn't fund them. The organization's power is largely tied to its prestige.
Because it has this recognition. Also, the tourism industry is investing around these sites because these are, of course, key attractions. So you see, the World Heritage status helps.
But what UNESCO giveth, it can also taketh away. In 2009, Germany's Dresden-Elbe Valley was taken off the World Heritage list after a modern bridge was built across the landscape.
I think it was a wake-up call, that you cannot just do what you want. You cannot do a development which may be threatening the reasons why the site was listed in the first place.
There are currently 53 sites on what's known as the World Heritage Danger List.
More than 250,000 people killed, more than 11 million have lost their homes. But the greatest treasure lost was the ancient city of Palmyra, a World Heritage Site.
Some, like Palmyra in Syria, are threatened because they're in conflict zones. Others, like the tropical rainforest of Sumatra, are threatened due to ongoing poaching and agricultural exploitation.
The U.S. State Department confirming the U.S. is withdrawing from the United Nations Cultural Agency, UNESCO.
The U.S. is currently not a part of UNESCO. It officially left at the beginning of 2019, thanks to a conflict that dates back to this 2011 vote.
Decided to admit Palestine as member of UNESCO.
That triggered a law that prevents the U.S. from funding any UN agency which recognizes an independent Palestine. But Rossler's hopeful the U.S. will return to the organization that, once upon a time, it helped establish.
Not only the sites in the U.S. benefit a lot from the World Heritage status, but many American tourists around the world benefit from visiting the World Heritage sites and from their preservation and presentation.
In fact, the U.S. recently received another designation. The 20th century architecture of Frank Lloyd Wright was added to the list in 2019. 8 buildings, from Falling Water in Pennsylvania to Hollyhock House in Los Angeles, have been deemed World Heritage worthy. Back here at Vatnajökull National Park, as with all sites, a listing alone doesn't really change a lot in the short term. Except, perhaps, for perceptions.
It makes you actually really proud. It was of great value for Icelanders, but now it is of great value for the whole world.
This portion of Sunday Morning is brought to you by iBrands.